As a refugee living in Taiwan today, I can express my feeling in front of President Hall. Nobody can do anything. But in China, you cannot say these all things.
On June 4th, 1989, student-led demonstrations, which had been brewing across China for a few months, were violently crushed by the Chinese Communist Party, who declared martial law and sent their troops onto the streets of Beijing to end the protests. Estimates of the death toll vary from several hundred to several thousand, with thousands more wounded. While the massacre has been downplayed and deleted from public record in China, it has been commemorated outside of China in the intervening years. Commemorations took place in Hong Kong after its return to the PRC and until the introduction of the National Security Law in 2020. Since then, any hint of remembrance has been rigorously stamped out and forbidden. In nearby Taiwan, where freedom and democracy prevail, the Tiananmen Square Massacre is commemorated each year, and on June 4th, I went along to Democracy Boulevard in Taipei to find out more. In June of 2024, we reported from Taipei on the commemoration marking the 35th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square Massacre. The Tiananmen Square Massacre, also known as the June 4th incident, was a brutal crackdown by Chinese authorities on a student-led demonstration in Beijing on June 4th, 1989. Prior to 2020, the biggest Tiananmen commemorations used to take place in Victoria Park in Hong Kong. However, after the introduction of the National Security Law on June 30th, 2020, and the subsequent CCP clampdown on democracy, any hint of commemoration in Hong Kong is no longer tolerated. Taipei has now become a home for this annual Tiananmen commemoration in Southeast Asia. However, this year, even Taipei was not free from threat. A number of Taiwan's news outlets reported that 8 government offices, including the Presidential Office and Executive Yuan, received bomb threats by email on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square crackdown. The messages warned of attacks if memorial events were held. Police traced the sender's IP address to the US, but it is expected that the real location was masked through a VPN, and searches of government buildings did not yield any suspicious devices. Despite the threats and the inclement weather, the Tiananmen commemoration still went ahead in Taipei. According to local media, about 3,000 people gathered for a candlelight vigil organised by the New School for Democracy and other human rights groups. The event took place on Democracy Boulevard outside Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall, with the theme Resist Transnational Repression, Defy Totalitarianism. It featured brief speeches by human rights advocates from Taiwan and China, including Hong Kong, as well as other nations. I went along to find out more, and I first spoke to Fu Tong. Fu is a Hong Konger who has sought exile in Taiwan after he and his wife were charged under a Hong Kong national security law for participating in the 2019 pro-democracy protests. He moved to Taiwan with his family, where he now runs a Mai Tai studio and continues to raise awareness of human rights abuses and the democracy crackdown in Hong Kong.
I'm Fu Tong, and now because I'm the anti-extradition, the frontline protester. So after the security law, I can't stay at Hong Kong. So now I move in Taiwan to keep going our Hong Kong protester. Yeah.
And what kind of things can you do to protest or help your cause?
Now I'm focused on the Hong Kong human rights because we have many people in the jail. Even though they're not in the jail, they can't speak anything, they can't say anything, they can't do anything. This is very much damage for our Hong Kong's human rights. So I moved here. I hope I can let everyone to focus on our Hong Kong's human rights. So I'm doing some event. Maybe it's a tradition. Sometimes we do street protests, and now I show them how is Hong Kong. This is Hong Kong Victoria Park. Now we can, because we have the many years to memory the Hong Kong China's June 4, and now we can't do anything. So I show them now Hong Kong is like this. Yeah.
And do you have many friends or family or people you know who are like held in prison in Hong Kong?
Yeah, of course, because I was shoot me at the road riot, so I was in court in system. So I know many friends. They are in person now still.
I mean, in the West, we hear a lot about Jimmy Lai, who is famous Hong Konger, who is he's on trial and he's been in solitary confinement, in prison by himself for 1,600 days.
Yeah.
It seems a very unfair case.
Of course.
Are there many other people like him? I mean, he's famous, so his case gets a lot of attention. Do you think there are many other people like Jimmy Lai in the same situation?
Yeah, we have a lot of people like Jimmy Lai, but they not like the focus like Jimmy Lai because they are no name, they are underground. Yeah, so we have many people. Yeah.
And so what do you think, like, people in other countries, like I come from Ireland, UK is our neighbour, European Union or next door. What can people in free countries, in free democracies do to help these people, to help people like you bring attention to this?
I think we can tell your government to focus this case, and our normal people, we can don't buy make in China, to tell China you do something to break the human right, and we will give you this. No, don't. We will not buy your.
Don't support them if they
support them. Yeah.
if they contravene human rights issues.
Yes.
Do you think that's easy to do, though?
No, it's not easy. Very not easy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we wish you every success in your campaign, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
That's Fu Tong, who is a Hong Konger and a freedom and democracy advocate. Many of the people attending the Taipei commemoration were Hong Kongers living in Taiwan, and at 8:30 p.m. everyone observed 64 seconds of silence to mourn those who lost their lives in the crackdown. Hong Kongers, however, aren't the only group suffering from CCP, transnational repression and totalitarianism. Tibetans have long expressed concerns about Chinese rule, citing cultural and linguistic assimilation, environmental degradation and human rights abuses. They accuse China of exploiting Tibetan resources for the benefit of the Chinese economy at the expense of the Tibetan people. They are also critical of the restrictions imposed on their religious practices, particularly those related to their religious leader, the Dalai Lama, who China's communist leaders view as a dangerous separatist. In fact, the Chinese government has appointed their own successor to the Dalai Lama. Yaltsin Norbu, who is rarely seen in public, met behind closed doors with Xi Jinping at the government compound in the centre of Beijing in the first week of June. The 35-year-old was appointed as the Panchen Lama of Tibetan Buddhism in 1995 at the age of 5, after followers of the Dalai Lama recognised a different boy as the Panchen's incarnation. At the meeting with Xi Jinping, the CCP-appointed Panchen Lama said he would firmly support the leadership of the Communist Party of China and resolutely safeguard the unity of the motherland and national unity, according to Chinese state media. I spoke with Tashi Tsering, who is the Secretary General of the Human Rights Network for Tibet and Taiwan, and he told me more about the situation. Earlier we were talking about just the Dalai Lama and his successor. So this is an interesting situation. The actual true successor to the Dalai Lama is disappeared. Is that right?
The Panchen Lama is disappeared. Panchen Lama, who was recognized by the 14th Dalai Lama, was kidnapped by CCP, and also the Chinese government, they officially another Panchen Lama appointed, so that in Tibet, CCP forced to the Tibetan people to believe the official Panchen Lama. The real Panchen Lama was already kidnapped since 30 years ago.
And you said I guess there's legend, or your belief is that the successor to the Dalai Lama can only be born in a free country.
This 14th Dalai Lama already mentioned, especially right now, is a book from His Holiness. In this book, he's mentioned that the 15th Dalai Lama, wherever they're born, he will be born in the free country. It means that if the China, maybe they are also preparing for the 15th Dalai Lama, but the 14th Dalai Lama who's alive, he mentioned about the 15th Dalai Lama will be born in free country, but China is not free. Everybody know that, you know.
And you mentioned when we were talking earlier about what Mao Zedong said about religion.
Okay, this is, you know, you can see the documentary movie of His Holiness. His Holiness himself mentioned that once he met Mao Zedong, and Mao Zedong told him that religious is the poison. So these words, you know, so I don't know how today the Chinese communists is very much carrying on the reincarnation of 15th Dalai Lama. If you are not giving respect for any religious, even you say that religious is a poison, you know.
And so, what do you think about the future of Tibet? How do you see the future happening for Tibet?
Of course, I know it's not very easy to get Tibet, free Tibet from the China, but we are fighting since, you know, generation to generation. Like in 1959, you know, His Holiness and the first generation of Tibetan, they are in exile. But like me, I was born in India. I can say that I'm the second generation in exile, and we are, keep fighting for our cause. And one thing in politically, you know, maybe the beginning, His Holiness and our government, the exile government, is seeking for independence. But now His Holiness and our CTA, Central Tibetan Administration, is not on the independent stand, but still they are in autonomous and also the middle way approach. And if the Chinese government accept the middle way approach, it's a benefit for both.
There could be something there, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're very likely to do that, right?
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, just now you have to take to generation. But one thing I can say, like me, I was born in exile. I was born in a refugee settlement in India, and also now I'm not young. Sometimes I used to say that I'm the second generation in exile, but now I'm already 50 plus. I had been in many countries. I saw the many Tibetan second, third generation. In exile, we are not too much population. We are only 150,000 in free country, but still we are unity, and we really follow for His Holiness, and we are fighting. We are not going to give up. We're fighting for our cause. It takes generation to generation, but still we can fight.
Have you ever visited your homeland?
Never. And on this case, I can say that, you know, one view. When I say that I was born in exile, I never saw my country. Maybe I will die on this situation, on the refugee, on the exile. I will be die, and means in this life I could not see my country, you know. But on the other hand, I can say that it's a very proud feeling that while I was born as an exile and as a refugee, but His Holiness give us a very good democracy. Today, as a Tibetan refugee, can also have right to vote for my leader, and also I can express my feeling. But in Tibet, in China, one thing, China is so big. So China giving this thing influence for everyone, from the economic, by the weapons. But inside the Chinese, they don't have this right, you know. So especially, I was in Taiwan since 27 years ago. I met many Chinese tourists and also young Chinese and the student. And one thing I want to say that we are not we are not angry. We are not how can I say? We are not. I don't think the Chinese are my enemy, you know, but we are in the same situation. You are also not very happily and freely living in your country. Suppose like in Taiwan, I'm as a refugee living in Taiwan. Today I can express my feeling in front of President Hall. You know, nobody can do anything. But in China, you cannot say these all things. So in one hand, the refugee living as a very freely and very openly, I can express my everything in front of His Holiness also, But China, you cannot do these all things.
And this commemoration today, the 36th anniversary of Tiananmen Square, I mean, this is what is being commemorated today, is the fact that people in Tiananmen Square 36 years ago could not express their freedom, they could not express their desire for democracy, and disaster ensued when they tried to do it.
Exactly. So that today, here in Taiwan, a free country, all of the, not only Tibetan, even Hong Kong now, and also some of Chinese are here. We together, and also we are. We are making this program, this even for the one thing I can say that who sacrificed their life on that 36 years before, and also many of them are in exile. They cannot go to their own country, so that we have to unity and fight together. Actually, in Taiwan situation, Hong Kong and Tibet, we have a different situation, but we have to we have to fight for the Chinese communists, so that I think maybe unity one day make a good result for us.
Okay, that's a good point to end on, I think. It's very nice talking with you. Thank you very much for sharing all your information with us.
Thank you so much.
That's Tashi Sering, Secretary General of the Human Rights Network for Tibet and Taiwan.
Mothers, please, do not come to the square looking for us anymore. Now it is a blank expanse. Tents, flags, command posts, broadcasting stations have long been leveled. Teachers, classmates, and friends are gone. The smoke clears. Thousands of lives in an instant turn to ashes. Tomorrow is Environment Day. Someone plans to hold a health exhibition. The square is clean, so very clean, as if nothing ever happened. We hear your cries.
我们一起倒下，然后起来，重牵冲散的手，点燃火炬，举得更高。你的胸膛长出石榴，他的额头埋下坦克的烙印，种种创痕就留在皮壳的表面吧。
张老师。
That's a small sample of some of the poetry reading from the 36th Tiananmen Square commemoration event in Taipei on June 4th last. Taiwan's President William Lai had earlier commented on social media that every year on June 4th, Taiwanese society lights candles of remembrance grounded in the universal values shared among democracies. He said that the commemoration is not only to mourn history, but also to perpetuate its memory. Authoritarian regimes erase history, while democratic societies choose to preserve the truth and refuse to forget those who gave their lives and their dreams to the idea of human rights. The threat of authoritarianism by military intimidation, grey zone coercion, surveillance and extraterritorial repression remain a global challenge to democratic societies, President Lai said. He continued that Taiwan stands on the front lines of defending democratic values worldwide and would continue working with like-minded partners to safeguard the status quo and protect democracy and freedom. He said that Taiwan endured decades of authoritarian rule before transitioning to democracy through the sacrifices and efforts of countless democracy advocates, and that we deeply understand the value of freedom and must not ignore the threats posed by authoritarian expansion to global democracy and the rule of law. Taiwan's opposition party, the Chinese Nationalist Party or Kuomintang, said June 4th is a day to remember the difficulties of fighting for freedom and democracy. People must stand up in the face of dictatorship. The pursuit of freedom has never been eliminated in the hearts of Chinese people around the world. The KMT will never forget this history and will continue to fight for their democracy and freedom, it said. And while President Lai and others make strong statements to affirm their support for Taiwan's freedom and democracy, there are some who feel more needs to be done. I spoke to Chen, who is a volunteer with Cosmopolitan Culture Action Taichung, or CCAT, and he told me about his aspirations for Taiwan.
好民文化行动协会 CCAT.
Behind you, you have two signs. One says, I am Taiwanese, I stand for Taiwan independence. The other says, Free Hong Kong, Revolution Now.
Hey, yeah.
So you are pro-Taiwan independence?
Yeah, we not only pro-Taiwan independent, we also pro-Hong Kong independent and Tibet independent. Yeah, we are an organization that works on translational justice, local culture and history, and issues related to Taichung City.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're based in Taichung in central Taiwan.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine there are lots of groups in Taiwan and Hong Kong and Tibet that are pro-independence.
Yeah.
What is different about your organization? Why do you set up your organization?
Our organization is more local, more focused in Taichung, local history and issue. Yeah.
Your president, Lai Ching-te, I think he already said Taiwan doesn't need to declare independence. It's already independent. It operates like an independent country. What do you say to that?
Everyone definitions independent is not same. Yeah. It's different. Yeah. So for me, I think Taiwan is not an independent country because it's called Republic of China now. It's not Republic of Taiwan. So I consider Taiwan need to independent, and Republic of China is not a real country, not a justice country for Taiwanese people. Yeah.
So what do you want to happen? What would you like to happen then?
Formulate constitution. Yeah. We need a constitution for Republic of Taiwan, a real constitution for Taiwanese people. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't speak a lot of Mandarin, but I want to say Taiwan 加油.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate.
Thank you for talking to us, Chen.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Chen from CCAT. And finally, we met with Eric from Belgium, who was visiting Taiwan for work. This was his first time attending a Tiananmen commemoration, so I began by asking him for his impressions.
Well, my first impression is that it's quite big. I didn't expect so many people. I wasn't sure what to expect, but when I arrived, I visited the museum. Already there, I was quite impressed by how big it is and how much information they show. So the fact that the idea lives so strongly here, this I didn't know. It's you learn a lot, basically.
And I know many of the speeches are in Mandarin Chinese, so if you don't speak Chinese, it's hard to follow along. But they do have a lot of little booths around here of different NGOs showing what they do. I mean, how much do you know about the Tiananmen Square Massacre?
Well, I know that it happened. I know that lots of people were arrested. I know that the idea is being suppressed always by the Chinese government. That in China itself you cannot find any information on it. Basically, you can find it in Europe, you can find it on the internet, you can read about it. But I'm pretty sure that, for example, if I would take one of these stickers and I would drop it at the airport in Beijing, I'm not so sure it's a smart idea.
The interesting thing for me is that it's the same party in power in China back then as it is now, that many Western countries are still willing to do business with. And that's quite an interesting thing that people, that Western countries are kind of, I suppose, willing to overlook what happened and still just move forward like it never happened.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, we have all these ideas, we have all these comments about what happens, and at the same time, it's business as usual, and we just tend to forget or just don't want to think about it, I guess. And that's that was also it was my main thing also. I put down a little candle at the 8964 64's symbol. And it's very weird to do this if you then realize indeed that your own government and in Europe is business.
And there aren't very many places where this event is commemorated now, I believe. I mean, Hong Kong used to be the big location for Tiananmen commemorations, but of course that doesn't happen anymore. Taiwan is now one of the bigger places. How about in Belgium? Are there any Tiananmen commemorations in Belgium that you know of?
No, I don't think so. None that I've ever heard about. So,
does Belgium have good connections with Taiwan?
Well, the thing is that in Belgium, in Brussels, you of course have the Parliament of the European Union. There are always some small protests. There's always somebody to be found which is trying to raise the voice about some subjects. So I'm pretty sure that there's also people raising this subject. But it's not that strong, no.
Okay, well, Eric, sorry to put you on the spot on some of those questions, but thank you for talking to me this evening.
You're welcome, thank you.
This year in Hong Kong, where tens of thousands used to gather to mark the anniversary before China's imposition of Hong Kong's national security law in 2020, hundreds of police officers stood guard around Victoria Park, the site of previous mass candlelight vigils, searching passers-by and taking away at least one activist. In Taiwan, we remembered all those who have stood up for freedom and democracy in Hong Kong, Tibet, Xinjiang, and particularly Tiananmen. Thanks to all of the guests who spoke to us in this episode of Perspectives with Nilo: Fu Tong, Tashi Sering, Chen from Taichung, and Eric from Belgium. As usual, we've placed additional material on the topics covered in the Dive Deeper section of our blog, which you can find at pwnilo.com. That's pwneilo.com. But that's where we leave it for now. Thank you for listening, and until the next time, from Taipei, Taiwan, 再见。